It looks like an auction. It looks like 3 or 4 people. Himself, that kid or her husband holding the child.
Okay, it looks like an auction. You can tell if they're holding another child or not, right? Like if they're being sold together.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Okay,
It looks like a room full of wealthy people.
room full of wealthy people.
Oh wait, there's another one down there.
Another one, what, right here?
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Okay,
Oh, it is a whole man. That's not bad.
okay. Thank you. Next table right here. Ruby, Edgardo, Veronica, Ashley. The people standing at the top and the rest are what? Are white. Okay? What does that mean? Why does it matter? Okay, so it means that they were having an auction and it matters because it shows how they can use as part. Okay? This team right here?
Well, in the image, I see African Americans on top of a podium. This means that they're being auctioned. This matters because it shows how slavery was bought.
Okay, nicely done. Thank you. I like the description, the detail. Right here? I see.
I see like people all the room. It's like these are there's a slave auction.
Slave auction. You're the first person to say that. I like that. Okay. Why does it matter?
Because this was a time in history that was way racism.
Because this was a time in history that was very traumatic and it shows racism. Nobody and very all right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start it off. I started off with this one this morning. This afternoon, because I wanted us to center ourselves, okay? Because we are talking about slavery. This is talking about the Civil War, okay? And what led up to it. And I don't know if it was this class or my last class where we were talking about the selling of slaves and treated as property, right? When we were reading the inauguration speech from Lincoln. So I wanted to show you an image. I'm gonna find some more images as you start thinking about and grapple with this idea of what's really happening, understanding who freed the slaves. Remember, that's our big question. Who freed the slaves? And the question really should be, who really freed the slaves? Right? That's the real question. So today we're gonna finish analyzing the quote. So we started with the quote yesterday, I think. After we're done analyzing the quote and really centering ourselves in what we are looking at, we're going to do the resisting slavery mixture. So really looking at the experiences of enslaved people and how they resisted, the different ways that they resisted. We're gonna pause and process that activity and we think about what does it mean for our study, for the answer to that question. And then we're gonna end with writing a collective poem, a retelling of this, of these events that you're going to learn about today. Okay. Yesterday I told you, I gave you a little sheet of paper and I said, don't lose it. And some of you guys like, I'm gonna lose it. I hope you didn't. I really hope you didn't. Okay. We're gonna move on to, this is where we left off yesterday, okay? And I gave you this handout. Do you have it? Take it out. Everybody take it out. We're gonna do it together. It looks like that.
I have a classroom, yeah?
Me too. Is this right?
Raise your hand if you need one. Okay.
You were here yesterday.
Lots after.
I know. Some people were here yesterday and they're coming to Okay,
Hello?
what page will this headline go on? 22. I read it somewhere. Somebody said 22. You're gonna paste this on page 22. Vega and Reed, you're gonna keep giving me points, so you need to like start watching that. Those.
Oh.
No, there's not even a nitpick.
Excuse me, we're talking about transitioning into an activity right now, and I'm giving you the reference.
So you're talking, yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna show you the image. Right here, everyone should have it out. We started reading yesterday, we're going to finish today, we're gonna finish the handout. We're gonna do the same matter together, but there are 3 questions below that you're going to answer on your own, okay? So your goal is to really understand this quote with Ms. Gaspar, but you have to process those 3 questions by yourself. Okay, and you can talk to your people at your table. It's up to you. Or we're gonna do it together, okay? And you know my writing is not the best. Let me move this. And let me turn off the light. Is that better? Okay, thank you, Ruby, for responding. Okay, so here's a quote. The quote, by 1860, there were more millionaires, slaveholders all living in the lower Mississippi Valley. I think we started, and remember when we do cubs, I just want to remind you of what cubs are. Remember? It's circle, key words, underline, main idea, okay, box, unknown words, like if we need to define something, and sidebar, it equals questions, comments, connections that you make, okay? Just remember that, we're gonna keep that in front and center as we move forward. So 1860 is an important year. By 1860, there were more millionaires, slaveholders, so there were a lot of millionaires in the Mississippi Valley. So millionaires living in the Mississippi, lower Mississippi Valley, okay? Than anywhere else in the United States. So United States is our location, right? So we know this is in the United States. In the same year, the nearly 4 million American slaves, there were 4 million American slaves were worth, I'm gonna circle worth, 3.5 billion. They were worth that much, making them the largest single financial asset. Now, do I need to circle or box this? Do you know what financial asset is? Should I circle it or box it? Tell me right now. Box it. The whole thing, okay? So financial has to do with what? Money, okay? Asset means, like it's a resource, right? It's worth something. Okay? So, like, all of you guys have assets because you have your phones that are worth something, and if you could sell it and you get money for it, y'all got some Apple Watches that are worth something, so that's asset. You sell it, you get money for it, you got money now, okay?
Does it matter if you lose money or make it?
Huh?
Does it matter if you lose money or make more?
It matters that like you invested money in purchasing that. So if you were in the event that you needed money, you could sell it and get it back, get something back.
Oh, so it's investment. Okay. Never mind.
It's worth something,
Yeah.
okay? Somebody would pay money for it, okay? So who's considered a financial asset?
Slaves.
Slaves, right? So in the entire US economy, worth more than all manufacturing. Does anybody know what manufacturing is?
Yeah.
What is it?
I'll explain it by what it means.
It's like when you make things. Making things. What's a type of manufacturing job? Manufacturing.
Walmart.
Yeah, what do they make? And where do they make it?
People that make clothes.
Clothes, okay, what else? During this time period, what might they be manufacturing?
Construction workers.
Maybe, oh, mass, yeah, that's a good example. This time period, mass, they're being mass produced, right? You said construction, okay? Railroads, you know what railroads are?
Yeah.
Right? So this is basically telling you that slaves were worth more than this and this combined. Okay, put together. They're worth a lot. Okay? I think I was telling you, and I don't know if I was telling you, but I think I definitely told my fourth period. Basically, when you look at this quote right here, it is telling you something about the state of the United States. Okay? So think about it. What is it telling you? Because we have to put it right here. What does this quote above say? What does it say? Let's simplify it for ourselves. This quote says what? Simplify it. I don't want this here word for word, because I don't have room to write that whole paragraph there. So I need one good sentence to simplify this. So what is this quote telling us?
And slaves cost more than, slaves were basically like the most expensive thing.
Very good. Yeah, I like that. So this quote says that slaves were, I don't remember the most expensive, but can we use worth? Should we use worth? Okay, so the quote says that slaves were worth, and you could say the amount of money, you could say it again, but you could also say the quote says that slaves were worth a lot to who? Who are they worth a lot to? Who cares about slaves? And in this case, who are we talking about? The United States and all its what? Millionaires, okay? So the quote says that slaves were worth a lot to the millionaires, right? And the United States, okay? If there's a president running, are they gonna try to get rid of slavery? Nope. It's worth too much for them. Can you imagine that? Can you pause and think for a quick second what it meant to end the system that was worth a lot to these powerful people? It was worth a lot. There was they had no reason to end it. Okay? So what does it mean? What does this mean? What does this now tell us? This means you want to add? This means, what does this mean? So if it's telling us that slaves were worth a lot to the millionaires of the United States, this means that
they couldn't afford to get rid of them.
they couldn't afford to get rid of it. Yes. This means that the United States could not afford to, I don't think it's get rid of them or like put an end to slavery, right? And they couldn't afford it. So this means that the US could not afford to end slavery. Okay? That's correct. That's what it tells us.
Safety.
Either could not or did not want to. It could also be could not or did not want to. Hey, remember, I think yesterday I told you that imagine that if we told the corporations today, we're gonna end your system of wealth. We're gonna get rid of it. Because you're the only one benefiting from it and we're not. Do you think it would happen? Would it end overnight? Why does this quote matter to our unit number 3? Why does it matter? Why does this quote matter? And when you think of the matter, it's basically, why is this important to know? This quote matters. Oh, okay, this quote matters because our unit is about slavery. But tell me more. Unit is about slavery and what else? Think about it a little bit differently.
That's what we're saying.
Does this quote show us the causes of slavery? Or what does it show us? What does it show us?
How much value that you pay if you pay.
How much value? What else does it show us? What does it tell us about these people right here?
How it's gonna affect them.
Okay, this quote matters because our unit is about slavery and I'm trying to figure out and I think it's and how difficult it was to end it. I think is what it is. How the millionaires didn't want to end it. They were running for president, they weren't gonna say, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna end slavery, because then they knew they weren't gonna get elected. So there was no people in power that was saying, hey, we want to end slavery. Not out loud. Maybe they thought it, they were thinking this is not right. Okay. So there was a lot of things that had to happen for it to end. Okay. But it was a system that was benefiting certain people. So this quote matters because our unit is about slavery and it tells us the struggle to end slavery. Okay, what it meant. Now remember, now that we analyze this quote, now I want you to answer these 3 questions on your own or with a partner. The first one is anything about this quote surprising? Okay, so that's your opinion. That's an opinion question. When you were reading this, did you were like, oh, I didn't know that, okay? Number 2, why does the labor of enslaved people, why was it so important? Why? Why did they need slaves as workers? What did they do for these millionaires? Okay? And finally, the third question is, what power did enslaved people have? Did they have any power? Okay? So that's your opinion. You're going to be writing it down. Okay? I'm going to give you, I don't think this should take you that long. I'm going to give you 7 minutes to do it. Okay? This is opinion.
20 minutes.
We are not taking 20 minutes for this. No. No, we're starting at 7.
15, 5 for each one.
We're starting at 7. And if for some reason you're working the whole time and you still need time, I will give you time. But if you're just chit-chatting, you're just wasting your minutes.
Where's my point?
So 7 minutes.
Where's my point?
What point?
You didn't talk about the point. Yeah, you finessing.
The whole class. No, but you're right. The whole class was engaged, so I'll give you a point for that. I don't finesse.
You're the classroom lawyer.
Okay, good. Wait, now you gotta answer this. Give me a sentence. Okay, what you doing? Come on, focus. Oh, come on, this one's easy. Okay, good. Write that down. What surprised me was that all the millionaires lived in the same place. Are you done? Because the time will run out quickly.
I bet you could read coffee. You can get the caffeine and
Well, I'll leave it as what the get the doctor, right? She didn't like, damn, I thought we could stop and I'm gonna hear it.
Try to fit it out. Try. Don't be shy, don't be shy.
And team up with so I think this is one. You would know if you had a.
This?
Yeah.
If you need a staff, we're gonna come around and staff pretty soon.
All bad.
For staffing the safety matters. Okay? When they're done with the question. Yeah. You guys finish your questions? You got one more. Okay, one more. You got 2 minutes. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they got one. We can do the auto. That's what like. All right. And did you leave the other two here? So there were enough for like 4 people. Oh, so you read this part. Yeah, so why wasn't it, no, this year I turned it. Yeah, okay. So why was the labor and labor so important? Okay, the labor, because
Anyone else?
a minute and 20 seconds.
Nice. A minute left.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you this one. Even though you're in this table, you're gonna be in this. Okay? Yeah. When we're done with this, you understand why. I have to combine it here. That's time. Who was it? Raise your hand if you were not here yesterday, you did not get the little slip of paper. The little slip of paper. Oh, but Gerardo, I gave you one already. Keep your hands up. Okay, that's a lot of you. Okay, yes. Yeah, I can give you extras if you lost it. I don't have enough.
That's mine here. I just took a picture of
Okay, you know what? That's okay. If you don't have one, we can still do this activity without one. I don't have enough for you guys to get one. I'll explain what you're doing. So here, ladies and gentlemen, class. Yes. Class. Yes. I need your undivided attention. I'm going to give you directions right now for our next activity, okay? Mr. Mayo went around and gave you a handout with questions, okay? So what we're gonna take some time right now is you're going to take out the piece of paper if you got it, the little paper, okay? And I hear some folks talking. I am giving you directions.
Listen up, listen up.
Okay? So you're going to take this piece of paper. I asked you for homework to read it and memorize it. Yep. On your way out, I said, make sure you memorize this. If you did not do that.
Oh, I thought you meant like, don't lose it.
Well, I said, don't lose it and memorize it.
Like, memorize, don't lose it.
Okay? So what you're going to be doing is you're going to have this description. We've done this before. We did this last quarter, and I know it's been a while, but remember how we did a T and you took on personalities and then you got up and shared your experience and you had a paper where you had to find people that met those requirements. Well, you're doing the same thing this time around, except this time around, you're not per se meeting people. The little papers describe, read, the way enslaved people resisted, okay? There are 7 different ways that enslaved people resisted, 7 different ways. So you guys were assigned 7 different types of resistance, okay? So in your questions, first task is to read this. First read this, okay? Next task is to look at the questions and see which one of them does your quote answer, so that you're ready when somebody approaches you and says, hey, are you whatever, like, can you answer this question for me? Okay, so you have to, it's a mixer, so you have to talk to each other. It is not the kind of situation where you're just gonna give your paper to someone and say, here. If I wanted you to do that, I would have just printed them out and given you each one and then you do it. Okay, that's not what this is. This activity is about. This activity is about you getting up, because some of you are falling asleep, okay? Doing the assignment and talking to each other and learning about it, okay? Sorry, I put that down. Okay, so read. It's now the time to ask for that. No, I'm giving directions. So you're going to read this and then you're gonna find which one of these do you answer so that you are ready. When people come and talk to you, I'm gonna give you about 7 minutes to read and figure out and understand these questions and know what you're looking for, okay? When those 7 minutes are up, we're gonna get up and start talking to each other and finding out things. I don't think you need more than 15 minutes to do all of that, okay? But we will see. We will see if you are fully engaged and interacting, then I will give you more time. Those people who do not have this, you're just gonna go on a scavenger hunt and try to fill this out and talking to as many people as possible. So you can do this, okay? And Mr. Tamayo is a person too, so you should ask him, because I gave him a little paper last time.
Put it back there, put it back over there.
Uh-oh. Do you remember what number?
Yeah.
I think you were 7.
No, it was 6.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, but
okay. All right, so you got 7 minutes. Read this, go through this, okay? Make sure you understand your quote. Make sure you understand this handout. Yeah. Good. I hope so. Look for your stuff. Not yet. You're start reading your quote. Read your quote. Okay, if you have a quote, read it. Here, give me the special gift for the other one. If you're group 1, right? Yeah, you got 2, don't you? Give her one of yours.
That's worth
Where are you going?
It's hard.
you were here. I guess he's gonna be on scavenger hunt, so I want to get it. I guess it's trying to figure out. Well, yeah, I guess you can come up to me if this is only for the ones that come up to, so I get no reason to.
Yeah.
If you come, you go up to the one.
Yeah, I got it.
Right now.
Not yet, we're starting in 5 minutes. Just memorize your line. All right.
He didn't get one.
You didn't get one?
I don't want to get one. I know a few of them didn't get one.
They might have extra. What happened to all the ones that I gave you? 'Cause some people should have had two. Or was there someone else that was here? Yesterday? Was there someone else here?
Bring the machine.
What group are you? Oh, you're 7. So I'm noticing that people are not using this time to read it, so do you want to start already? Are y'all ready to start? Francisco, that computer needs to be away. Thank you for my point, Francisco. Yeah. Y'all ready to start? You ready to start? The name of who?
That's right, right?
No, no.
Let me write down, we have to write something.
No, so, so find someone and then you, yeah, when you find that someone, let me look at this, who it was? No, that's not it. Oh my God, yeah, gotta have more resilience than this.
Communications. You're really testing me.
Oh, it's really testing me.
Yeah, I got 3 names.
This one doesn't really have a name. It says, you can say this, I found a person that resisted in this one. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I have the same similar one.
What the bottom?
I got to listen,
Uh-huh. You heard that?
yeah, they're different, but they want to see kind of.
Yeah, they do resistance at work. So, yeah, but there's different ways that they may have that. Here, I'm gonna give this to that. Let's see, who wasn't here? You don't want one? Are you sure? Here, read it. Okay, I'm gonna address that right now, because I think I'm sure a lot of people are.
We'll do a practice round, a practice round? Class,
Yes,
class,
yes.
I keep getting this question right now, so I'm gonna address it, because you're all probably wondering the same thing, okay? So one thing that Rita and Joshua were saying is when we go around, what do we write? Whose name do we write? If you have a description that doesn't have a name, okay, then you can just say, so for example, let's see, find someone who has a quote or quote about music. How did the enslaved person resist, right? So you really, the question is not asking you what's their name, it's asking you how did this person resist? So you're gonna write, I found a person that resisted by, okay? The how the resistance happened is important, okay? The name not so much, it's just the how did they resist? That's what you really want to share with them. If there are no names in the paper like mine, this one doesn't have names, right? So I'm gonna focus on the way that they resisted, okay? That's gonna be what I share to the person when I talk to them, okay? Remember I told you that these are gonna be representative of about 7 different ways that people resisted. When you see yours, it's gonna have a group and then it's gonna tell you the type of resistance, but you have to give the details from the reading, okay? So theft and property is a type destruction, okay? But how did this one person, what did they destroy, okay? As a form of resistance. Does that help clarify some of these things? Okay. So we're gonna get started because it seems like you guys are ready to start. We're gonna put 15 minutes on the clock. You can start at your table, but then you have to plan out. There are 7 different groups of people, so you want to talk to as many people as possible.
Don't be shy, don't be shy.
Don't be shy is correct. I'll tell you, Mike. Hold on. I shall tell you. It's gonna put the timer on.
Bro, what the fuck are we writing this?
Okay. So I'm gonna model it for you because I'm gonna do it for Ashley. Okay, so mine was,
No, after, it's even.
I was a planter and we found many ways we could ruin their plants, right? So there were mysteriously bent holes, broken plows, toothless rakes, and injured field animals. Slaves deliberately overworked field animals and plowed too shallow for planting the crops. So we were deliberately killing their crops. We were sabotaging what we called it a thick slave hose that could not easily be broken. So like the thing that you should write on mine is that the way that we sabotage is we broke their tools, we broke we ruined their like crops, and we overworked the animals.
Come on, man, you don't want to write that shit.
And that's it. Okay? This was called theft and property. We were like, my person destroyed it. Okay? So now y'all need to start moving around, talking to different people.
No, I mean, I'm not fucking.
Huh?
I'm not fucking.
What the
This is
fuck?
a good, this is a good one.
What do you need to get this activity done?
Number 2.
What's number 2? By someone who has a code about maintaining the family, what ways did it say to maintain families by hardship? Oh, it's great. Yes, it says maintaining the family. They protected the family unit. A strong united family provided love, hope, so they were very close-knit family. Encouraging survival. And their bond couldn't be broken, yeah. The family unit strength became. Yeah. Yeah. And fighting for family and individual knew he or she was not alone in affirming vital sense of identity and self-worth. So that's, yeah, okay, so like, you know, their family taught them that they had an identity and they were worth something. So that was a way of resisting, right? Because they had nothing else, but they could teach each other that we're worth. So yeah, as long as he had that, so he was missing that. Yeah. Okay. Is this yours or is this? Okay.
You may walk around.
Strong family.
Get up. I am verbal and.
Be resilient, not give up.
Yes. Would you ready to? Are you ready?
Okay, so what do you need?
And striking a knife from her country's hand, knocking him out. And in St. Woman named Ravinda swung a old and very long swung club.
Right, so like even if you have your family, the height,
And Virginia
the
punched
real
her owner
potential that you
who was trying to rip off her clothes
so they had to
and throw her to
like
the floor.
make them strong, have them have
Seek
hope,
further to the bottom of
courage.
boiling soup.
They taught us, they taught
Finally,
us.
So his wife was here. Oh, so I'm the violent one. So verbal is so.
So I underlined it for you.
It's not that hard, you just gotta get up. It's not that hard. Okay, get up, students, get up. Don't be shy. You guys are acting brand new.
Okay, y'all need to start getting up. Come on. Come on. You want me to go with you? Come on, let's go, let's go. Why you guys throwing things?
All right, go walk around, walk around. Maybe you need the lights on. Is it-
Yeah, man, yeah, let's turn on the light, let's wake you up.
Yeah. I got verbal.
Time to wake up, let's go. Come on, you guys go.
Yes, I got my verbal. Okay, I'm gonna read it.
Don't forget, I have one too. How did they maintain the family? What did they do? Often they, people have to handle the business while their loved ones are not in front.
So how did I do? How did I do? What did I do? Yeah, but I hit you with the club. What else did I do? I got the knife from the staff with the knife. I pushed it. What else? I punched my woman right in the face. So because if I become a woman, I'm gonna give to myself. Do something, so I punch it. Yeah. It just takes us off one that stand up. You know? Well, yeah, because we've been in Zoom for like a year and a half. Everyone's been home. So this is like harder. We're all socializing. I did do it. I was home, actually. Actually, yeah, we're gonna fix up to you. Stand up, guys, get up. Walk around.
Let's go.
Don't shy. You're in a safe space. You're in a safe space. Talk to everybody. Don't just talk to the homies. Talk to someone you haven't talked to before. Got it?
Now that you finish talking to people and getting to know people, you're gonna read this quote and you're gonna answer this question. How do the stories that you just learned about challenge this quote above? How is it different? Gentlemen, thank you for my point.
Oh, we're snatching.
Okay?
Nah, miss, you're fucking cheap.
Okay. I'll give myself a point for that.
Oh, no.
Okay? So think and respond. Listen carefully. The Negro slaves of the South are the happiest and in some sense, the freest people in the world. The children and the aged and infirm work not at all, and yet have all the comforts and necessities of life provided for them. Look at this. They have all the comforts and necessities of life for them. They enjoy liberty because they are oppressed, brother, by care or labor. The women do little hard work and are protected from despotism of their husbands by their masters, okay? This is a quote from someone that favors slavery. They're saying they're happy. There's nothing wrong with them, okay? You just walked around and learned different experiences from enslaved people, okay? You're gonna answer this question. That's why I highlighted for you. I want you to copy it. How do the stories that you just learned about challenge this quote? How is it different? How is the reality that you learned about in those little papers different from what is being described over here? Okay, so that's what you are spending 10 minutes to do, is you're writing 10 minutes. Or 5 minutes. Let's do 5 minutes.
Yeah, maybe that's all that's left.
5 minutes. Do it, write it. Don't think too hard about it. If you need to go back and look at the questions, go back and look at the questions. This quote is different from what I read or learned because. Okay? If you need a sentence starter, there it is. Send it over there. How do the stories that you just learned about challenge this quote? How is it different? So if I'm responding, I'm gonna say the stories I learned about challenge this quote by blank blank. What are you gonna say? By what? What's the reality? What are the slaves really experiencing and feeling? Are they happy? Are they protected? Are they really feeling like that? Okay?
Yeah.
Good. It's your processing. This is important for you and your brain.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Oh, you want to call back? Yeah, you know what? So, what did you just tell me they were actually? Yeah, that's what they think. The table. Yeah. But what do those say? Okay. Then you're gonna put right here the quote, which is this quote is the one I read because what you just said, this one is about, is from whose perspective? Mhm. Okay.
You want to carry?
Oh, what?
Yeah, how many have half the tea?
Okay, so because this is from
All those stories are each other.
Perspective.
Challenge this quote. Just make them out because it's different.
You got something?
back to Bill. That, what? What you mad about? What? Why you angry? You wanna stay here for the rest of the day? We good.
I mean,
You want your phone back?
I just wish so.
Yeah, okay, you wanna finish that thought or what? Right, that's fine, maybe limited perspective. Okay, period. And then your sentence, that follow sentence is gonna be how does it be? Okay?
Yes. Can we talk?
Oh, yeah.
Have a wonderful day.
Ah, call me baby. Well, let me know if you want me to print out the transcripts. I gave them every single person on week one their transcripts.
Okay, have a nice day, man.
All right.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Or, no, we won't. It's Friday. I don't know.
What? Come on, Joanne.
See you Monday. Have a nice day.
See you Monday. Oh my God. Bye.